Welcome to Beyond Bosch. I'm your host, Jessica Dahl. If you are watching this on YouTube, you'll notice we're actually live on camera now. So today, joining us, we have Nader Hammoud. He's a senior application engineer for Bosch two-wheeler and Powersports with a focus on active safety.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, welcome, Nader.
Yeah,
How are you?
Thank you. Doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You are someone who, from what I gather, practice what you preach, per se. Like, you work on motorcycles, safety, but you also ride, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so tell the audience a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So Nader Hammoud, I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. Moved to the U.S. about 10 years ago, and I've been with Bosch for about 8 years, but with this team, two-wheel Powersports, for about 6 years now. And honestly, my life revolves around kind of motorcycles, be it at work or at home. I have 4 personal motorcycles, from big motorcycles to a small 50 motorcycle that we race indoors. And I'm really passionate about motorcycle safety and kind of taking away the negative connotations of riding towards, the public might think that motorcycles are dangerous and we shouldn't do it and all that, but I try to take that away and show people that with proper training, the proper technologies, and the proper attitude, really motorcycles are so much fun and they can be one of the best things that people do.
Oh,
So,
I love
yeah.
that. I love that. I feel like it's so important that the people working on technologies are the people who also use them.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like that's super important.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
I also heard that you skydive.
Yes,
Like-
yes, I do.
Okay, can you tell me more about that?
Sure. So I have about a little bit over 1,300 jumps. I'm a tandem instructor and AFF, which is accelerated freefall instructor. So I can take you on your first jump and then teach you how to become a skydiver.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, similarly with riding motorcycles, a lot of people look at skydiving and they're like, "Are you crazy? You're jumping out of an airplane. I would never do it." But there are a lot of procedures and trainings and safety things that we do to minimize the risk, and if there is something that were to happen, we know exactly what to do. We have procedures that we follow. And so just like motorcycles, I really try to dispel the wrong notion that, skydiving is super dangerous and you shouldn't do it and all that. I do it almost every weekend if the weather is good, and my friends are engineers and doctors and all that, and they also skydive. And safety is our top priority. We all have families to go to, we all have pets, we all have kids, and it's we want to go back to all that, and we don't want to do anything too dangerous. So.
Yeah, no, that's really good, because honestly, I mean, I get nervous about, first of all, skydiving. No, I don't know. I don't want to say never, but probably not.
Come on, after all this, you got to try
maybe,
it. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the same thing, like, safety on a motorcycle is huge. Not only just like on the road in general with mobility across the board, but we know like motorcycles are pretty much invisible on the road to other people, right? So not only that, but mitigating the actual technology within the bike is so crucial. Like, I'd love to hear more about kind of what does your day-to-day look like? What do you do to enhance the safety of the bike? And
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, you might think that all we do is just get on a motorcycle and ride it, but at the end of the day, we want to release something that we are comfortable with, and we would put it on our personal bikes, right? And so our day really consists of pushing things to a little bit close to the limit, but then dialing it back 10, 15, 20%, depending on kind of what the customer wants. And then kind of finding that happy medium that keeps things safe but still fun. So like on a day-to-day basis, like we'll get a motorcycle from one of our suppliers, be it Harley or Polaris or Zero Electric Motorcycles are big names in North America. We'll put a Bosch unit on there. We'll put a bunch of our instrumentation and gathering a bunch of data and stuff. And we'll go out and start taking traces, start taking measurements, trying to see, all right, we're getting close to the limit. What's happening here? Let's dial it back down, again, 10, 15, 20%, and making sure that everything is safe, the whole system works really well. And once we're done, we invite the customers to kind of try out what we have. We'll get, all right, thumbs up on this, thumbs up on that, but here maybe you want to fix this, that 20%, let's drop it to 30% and stuff like that until everyone on the team is happy with the final product and we're confident enough to release it to the public.
Oh my goodness. So you're actually taking it further and to the limit that obviously like someone like myself getting on a bike would not experience
Mm-hmm.
on purpose to see where you need to dial it back to.
Yeah, and maybe something to add here is that we do get a lot of training from professional racers in their own fields to understand where that limit is and not exceed it in an unsafe manner, right? So we'll go to on-road racing schools, off-road racing schools. We'll do kind of off-road training as well on like four-wheel vehicles and stuff like that to, like I said, understand where that limit is, flirt with it if we have to, but always stay on the safe side. And obviously we have proper gear, we have airbags, helmets, everything's approved, and we try to keep it as safe as possible. And
Sure.
we've been really good at it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you have family to go home to, right?
Exactly,
Like it's
yeah.
still part of your job, you know, you
Yes.
want to live to see another day or ride another day.
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you, I'd love to take a step back and like take the audience with us, you know, how did you get to this point? You know, you said you're from Lebanon, you said,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you take us on a little, you know, shortened version of your life journey
The
here?
journey, yeah, I'll try not to spend an hour here. Yeah, I mean, I moved to the U.S. It'll be 10 years in this July, so we're going to have a big celebration and all that. I did my grad school at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. And then right after that, I honestly started with Bosch. They had the junior manager program, JMP program at the time. It has a different name now. But the basis of that program is for 2 years, every 6 months, you go from one division of Bosch to the next. And that's just in order to kind of explore different business units within Bosch and try to see where your passion's at, try to have connections all around, do one assignment international, and see where you want to fit in after 2 years. And so I did that program, and at the end of the 2 years, you know, I got a couple of pings from my friends that, hey, this job at Two Wheel Powersports, they're looking for engineers, and we think you'd be a great fit. And so I hassled my current manager, and I'm like, I want to work there. What can I do? What do I need to do to kind of prove myself and all that? And yeah, I got the job and been with the team for 6 years now.
Wow, that's awesome. So the culture there, I feel like I would imagine is pretty much like someone like yourself, right? Like people who love to ride and are really into it.
So yeah, I mean, everyone has hobbies outside of work. Mine is skydiving, but we have a guy who drifts cars. We have a guy who races in Motor America, really good racer. We have people who ride off-road, excellent off-road riders. And it's funny, as a team, we all have little small 50 motorcycles that these big dudes get on, and we all go as a team and race them indoors. So that culture of we're all gearheads, we all like our hobbies, we all love motorcycles. And it's funny, whenever we go out to dinner together, that's all we talk about. It's just motorcycles and cars and all that. And we have to be very aware if someone isn't into that, we have to limit ourselves to what we're talking about. So,
Right.
yeah, it's definitely a culture thing, and everyone really appreciates it.
Oh, I love that. Were you always like that, like as a child too, or did you find that kind of passion later?
So I kind of fell in love with motorcycles after watching the Isle of Man. So it's a little island close to the UK, and they do on the street racing at insane speeds. They're one of the best riders in the world. But I looked at that and I was like, this is incredible. I want to do that. Fast forward to now, I understand how risky and crazy it is. But I loved motorcycles since I was probably 6 or 7 years old.
Wow.
But unfortunately, I wasn't able to ride until I was about 21. My parents were very against motorcycles. They had that idea in their head, which is totally fine. But once I made enough money and was able to buy my motorcycle, I did that and never looked back. And now they're super supportive about my career and all that. So
yeah,
it's been in me, but I've been finally able to kind of explore it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So, I mean, with this, like working on safety systems on something that's like very, like you said, there's a risk there, right? Mm-hmm. And also very important to kind of change the narrative. That's what I'm getting from you is like that's part of your passion too, right? Like changing that perspective. What is one or some of the biggest obstacles you've had to overcome with that?
To be completely honest, with older generation riders, they've experienced some ABS systems, not Bosch, just different suppliers, and it was very clunky. It wasn't too reliable. The performance wasn't that great, and that they tried it once, and then they were like, nope, forever, I don't want ABS on my bike. And trying to really have people get rid of that idea and try the new technology. I mean, laptops from the 1980s aren't the same as laptops now, right? So
Right.
the technology just keeps on improving, and we try to have people understand that this is what we do and what we want on our own bikes, right? So please try the Bosch system, try ABS, try traction control and all that. And I think we're doing a better job now with the newer generation. But like I said, I think with the older generation, it's a little bit of a tougher thing to get to.
Sure. Well, and I mean, you know, you can't like invite everyone out
Yeah.
to come and ride them, and that's really the way you probably change their mind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of liability with inviting people from the public to ride, but a couple of things, very exciting things we're trying to do is have some YouTube celebrities, maybe. I won't divulge too much, but that have a lot of exposure to motorcycles, and we're having them come out maybe and try our systems and expose the public to how safe these things are. And yeah, the riders, the engineers who are calibrating this stuff actually ride and actually practice what they preach and all that. So
yeah, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because then you can really multiply the message.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's from an unbiased source, so we're
Yes.
not showing it as Bosch. We're kind of an unbiased party, and they get to try the system, and yeah, great.
Well, to me, that just proves that you believe in what you're doing, because
Yes.
you're not going to invite someone like that in to go and like try something out and then tell their millions of followers, right?
Correct.
Like,
Yes.
so that's exciting. That's really cool.
Yep.
With that, I mean, I'd love to hear I mean, that's something you're excited about, but what about something you're really proud of that you've done?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there isn't a single thing maybe, but just the fact that I've been exposed to different technologies. So personally, I've worked on motorcycles, I've worked on off-road side-by-sides, I've worked on ATVs, and just the breadth of knowledge that I was able to have with Bosch is, I'm very happy about that. And now you can throw me on almost any project, and I'll need a little bit of time to get accustomed to it, but after a little bit of time, I'm just ready to take off, and I'm pretty proud of that, I would say.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, and to think about, like, for me, I've lived in this country and spoke this language and, you know, like and I don't really do anything extremely risky, right? Like, so like, that's just a testament to the person you are, you know.
Thank you.
Being willing to do that. Those are things most people don't have to overcome, you know, so.
Yeah. And it is uncomfortable. I won't say that, you know, oh, I did it and it's all fine. There are a lot of uncomfortable moments and learning moments, and you have to grow as a person. But yeah, ultimately it was, I was supported by a great team. Honestly, the team here at Bosch is unbelievable, and so many people know more about this stuff than I do, and I try to pick their brains like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Can you teach me what you've learned? And everyone's super open. And another thing that's really good about 2WP and Bosch in general is we're very good at working with our global organization. So we have meetings with our teams in Japan, Germany, China, India, Taiwan, and we all get together and it's like, all right, you guys face this issue. We face something similar. How do we fix it? How do we make a software change? Is it calibration change? And I mean, all of them are coming out to the US in May to have a big application engineer workshop, basically. And this is the second time we do it, and it's been positive feedback so far.
Oh,
so
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. But what does that look like for your workday? Like, does that mean random hours of the night, like in the morning?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
The best one is when I'm in Arizona, so West Coast, but we have to get on a call with the team in Japan.
Right.
And so we have 4:30 a.m. meetings, and that's always interesting.
Hurts.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit. A lot of coffee.
Yeah.
A lot of coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this has been so good. One thing I love asking people that come on the show is your best piece of advice. And that could be personal or career, and it's okay if you don't have one, but I just feel like we all have something to offer, and it's just a nice takeaway. Do you have something you want to share?
Best piece of advice I would say is to not settle with your career. I thought I wanted to take my career a certain way, and it would have been totally fine, but being stubborn and trying to find something I'm passionate about, I'm really thankful for that mindset that I have back then. And so I would say for people who are considering kind of their careers and all that, try as best as you can to still work in something that you're passionate about. It really helps on the day-to-day life at work.
Yeah.
And I have my family to thank for that. Honestly, you know, my grandpa was a physician, my other grandpa was dealing and like trading, commerce and all that, and my dad's a landscape engineer, my mom's a teacher, so we're all around, but the main theme is that they all kind of followed something they were passionate about, and they made a career out of it, and money comes later, but the main focus is like, hey, are you passionate about these things? Try to make a career out of it, and it gets figured out eventually. So.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, what is the saying? It's like, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's cliche, but it really works.
But it's like what you just said. I love that.
Yeah,
so
it makes waking up at 4:30 in the morning totally fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I think that's a great way to end it. I think this has been such a great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely.
Taking
this was a
time
blast.
off your bike to
Yeah.
come and
Yeah.
join us. And all of you who joined us today, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a review for this episode if you liked it, and drop some comments. Let us know if you like this format, who else you want to have on the show. Thanks.